Well, it's the Kyle Peterson Top 5 Big Show. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Kyle Peterson Top 5 Countdown. And today on the channel, we're counting down the top 5 Big Show, Giant, Paul White, whatever you want to call him, figures as chosen by me. This is my top 5 list. I'm asking you guys in the comments below, put your top 5 Big Show, Paul White, Giant figures in the list below, and we'll compare notes after all is said and done. But once again, this is my list, so these are my favorite figures from the Big Show over his long, illustrious career. And he's a guy that's had a lot of figures over a lot of time, a lot of repaints, a lot of similar figures, but some real gems in there and some forgotten gems. I think there's going to be some surprises in this list, and you probably say, I didn't know that existed, or I totally forgot about that figure. But make sure you're subscribed to the channel. As you guys know, we're pumping out a new top 5 list every single Thursday. We're sticking with wrestling for now, but we'll branch off. We'll branch into some Marvel Legends, some Star Wars, some other lines as we keep going. This could be a long series. I mean, it could really go on forever. And we're doing top 5 Big Show today, but tomorrow could be top 5 LJNs of all time, top 5 Hasbros of all time, top 5 Wolverine figures. I mean, it really is an endless list. But once we get to those magical 1,000 bullet points, I guess, on the channel, 1,000 subscriber milestones, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, stuff like that. Maybe we'll do some special top 10 lists. A top 10 Ultimate Warrior, we'll save that for the 10,000 subscribers. Top 10 Macho Man, top 10 Hogan. Some of the big heavy hitters that have had tons of figures over the year, we'll do a special top 10 list for those. So be prepared, be subscribed. Make sure you're following along on social media as well at SirPaul64 on Twitter, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram, and of course Pro Wrestling Tees, search Kyle Peterson. But let's kick it off. Let's kick it off with number 5, and we're going to a line that's near and dear to my heart. One of my favorite lines of all time. Sometimes these lines get a bad rap, but not from me. You guys know I love it. But we're talking Jakks. We're talking Ruthless Aggression. We're talking Jakks Ruthless Aggression Series 36 or WrestleMania 25 2-pack with The Undertaker and a few other releases. As you guys know, Jakks Ruthless Aggression line, we got figures many times over. But we're talking the Big Show from that Ruthless Aggression line right here. Now, a lot of big shows from the Jakks Ruthless Aggression line over the years, as we all are aware. We got one where he's just in trunks. That's an interesting one. We've gotten tons in the singlet, and we've got tons in the singlet with just the painted-on strap. Why I like 36, or whatever one you want to call this one. Like I said, it's been released a few times. We'll call it Ruthless 36. Why I like this one so much is the cloth goods singlet. I think it really makes this one stand out. It looks a heck of a lot better. It's a great figure. It's a great figure. I always love big figures. I love tattooed figures. Just put face paint or a mask on him, and he might be my favorite wrestler of all time. But I do really enjoy this figure. One thing to be said, though, is we've seen it with Mattel, and we saw it with Jakks as well. The cloth good does stain the figure. This very well could be a stained mess underneath. I do got a little staining on the shoulders, which is unfortunate, and it still happens to this day. We'll never forget Rick Rudegate, that's for sure. I should mention Big Show, a favorite of many on the channel is, if you guys ever read the comments on the channel, I either get, Kyle, did anybody ever tell you look just like the Big Show? Has anybody ever told you look just like him? Or I get, Kyle, did anybody ever tell you you look like AJ Styles? So somewhere in that void between Big Show and AJ Styles is where I sit. I'm somewhere in the middle between the two. But I always get compared to the comments, and it's funny. People always think that's the first time anybody's ever said that, I bet. And I know how it goes. I know how it goes, but I do like this one a whole lot, and like I did mention too, the tattoo work phenomenal on here. Jakks, both tattoos, both sides. Did not get the neck tattoo on the back of Bess, and we'll see that a little bit later. But, you know, the typical giant Jacksism figure, you got to have that open hand. You're ready to do the choke slam. Just a great playability-wise figure here. I like this one a whole lot. And that's why it made number 5 on my top 5 Big Show list. Now let's take a look at number 4. All right, it's time for number 4, and we're going to the Jakks again, and we're going to Jakks Deluxe Aggression Series 23. Now, a lot of people might have forgotten about this figure. A little bit similar to the one we saw before. It is not soft goods singlet. I got the same choke slam hand, which I feel you really do need if you got a Big Show figure. but I do love this Jakks Deluxe Aggression line. A lot of people don't like the Deluxe Aggressions. I understand that. They really are the forefront, the forerunners, the template for the Mattel Elites, though, if you think about it. They are the ones that gave us the ab articulation and some of the details out there. I think a lot of the hate for the Deluxe Aggression is they took Jakks and they even put Jakks figures on steroids, which already looked like they were on steroids. So some of the guys, Mr. Anderson, some of those guys just beyond pumped up. It just looks a little too comical, so I understand a little bit of that hate. But I love this Big Show figure because a little bit of smoke and mirrors, guess what? He can blend in a lot of things. You're not happy with the size of your Big Show and you're just regular Ruthless Aggression, you can use this one instead. Wait a minute, what about Mattel's? Does he scale well with Mattel? Well, I guess we'll compare right here. Here's the Ultimate Edition Stone Cold. Look at that. Look at that height difference. I feel like that just screams giant more, and you can easily smoke and mirrors, and there's very few. I really can't think of any beside this one off the top of my head that you can smoke and mirrors a Jakks Deluxe Aggression with your Mattel Elite figures, but it looks fine. It looks right. It looks like, hey, there's a giant. I'll grab that other Big Show. So, Jakks regular one, just a hair smaller, but the Deluxe just thicker, bigger, a little wider, and just a little bit taller. So a really cool idea here if you want to mix and match, and this is a fairly cheap figure. You can get this one loose, even cheaper, but on card, a lot of these Deluxe Aggressions, they are going up in price, I should say that, but nowhere near as terrible as some of the other lines out there. So this is a great value Big Show. If you don't have an Elite Big Show that looks somewhat like this, like I said, you can easily smoke and mirrors this Big Show in there. So I think this is a sleeper Big Show figure as I knock him over. That's why he came in at number 4 on my list. He does have the tattoos. Unfortunately, no coloring on the tattoos, but at least they are there. But he does have that back tattoo that says Bess, his wife's name, on the back. But I do really like this Big Show figure. I think this is a very, very solid one. One of the best figures in the Deluxe Aggression line, if you ask me. So that's why this one came in at number 4. But where are we going with number 3? All right, we're at the number 3 Big Show figures as voted by me. Are you keeping track at home? Do you have your list written down? Are you searching the internet to put your top 5 together? Make sure you put it in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys think, see where your list compares to my list. But number 3 spot, we take a venture into Mattel. Mattel for the first time. We've had 2 Jakks figures. Now we're getting into Mattel. And Mattel's had some really good Big Shows and some that just really missed the mark, in my opinion. Once again, this is my list. But this one definitely deserved the number 3 spot on for me. It's a Big Show figure we didn't get with Jakks. Really the only time we've ever gotten this era of Big Show, and I really do like this one. It is Elite Series 71 Big Show. Long-haired Big Show with a little rat tail ponytail on the back kind of going on there. Comes with the title, comes with a soft goods jacket, just a big jacket shirt. Just a big hulking figure. I love it when they give Big Show the big fist, the big fisted hand. I think that's just a tremendous look. It just makes it more menacing. I love a fisted hand for whatever reason. I just think it looks really good on wrestling figures, and I think every figure should have a fisted hand. But a very cool Big Show, a very underrated Big Show. This one flew under the radar. The Series 71 set was kind of hit and miss at retail, as my memory serves me. So I know some people missed on this or slept on this, what have you out there. But a very, very strong Big Show representation. Reminds me of the time him feuding with the Big Boss Man, another big guy. The Big Show, the Big Boss Man, what a feud that was. Big Show surfing on his Big Boss Man, pulling what was it, in the Blues Brothers car? Wasn't it the Blues Brothers car? He was pulling the casket with the Big Show riding on top of the casket of his dead father. Wow, what an angle that was. So just revolutionary at the time, and still all these years later. I'm pretty sure it was like the Blues Brother car, wasn't it? That just seems so weird to even say that, but I'm pretty sure that's what my memory says. But this Big Show, very solid, like I said, a very cool one. One you don't see a whole lot, and I think it's a little bit forgotten in the Mattel legacy of Big Show figures. But he comes in at number 3. Now, where do we go with number 2? All right, number 2 is a sleeper figure, and I got a feeling there's some new collectors out there and maybe some old collectors that missed out on this one and possibly never even knew this action figure existed. And this is one of the deep, deep cuts from Jakks. As we all know, Jakks had a ton of lines out at retail, but they had tons of exclusives. They had an exclusive Big Show to commemorate his WrestleMania match with Floyd Mayweather, if you remember that. And I've got this one loose and on card. That's how much I like this figure. And there it is, the old Big Show in his boxing gear. Look at that. Got a cool glamour shot of the Big Show down there. You got Big Show's name at the bottom. A very plain white packaging, very different than most. There's only 2 figures in Jack's Ruthless Aggression that were the size with this size of box, and that other one being Great Khali. But this one's very, very interesting packaging, but I love this Big Show. He's got his kind of boxing sweats on, but he also has boxing gloves. And boxing gloves became a thing with Jack's when they did pick up the Rocky license. I would have loved to have seen these type of gloves on that Roddy Piper 1 of 100, 1 of 25 Classic Superstar exclusive. But this is a fantabulous packaging here. You got the clear window on the side. Love that. WWE on this side. And then, of course, the back. There he is, just promoting him. There he is, looking like the tail of the tape for the big boxing match. What to say back here? Big Show, 7'2", 441 pounds from Tampa, Florida. The finishing move, choke slam. Career highlight, ECW champion, WWE champion, World Tag Team champion, WWE Hardcore champion, United States champion. 2008 this came out. So definitely a sleeper, a bit of a forgotten figure if you ask me. Like I said, I do have a loose one here. I was wondering if it's stained, but I don't have any staining really going on. A little bit, I guess. There's a little bit. Just sad about these soft goods. You really should wash them if you want to, but I love this figure. It's a Big Show figure, which it should be, but I love the soft goods. Has all of his tattoo work in color, even the tattoo on the back of his neck. But the boxing gloves, it's just a one-off Big Show that's different than any other Big Show we've had. I wonder if one day, maybe as an exclusive, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, something like that, maybe we'll get a Big Show Mayweather 2-pack from Mattel. That would be a pretty cool one, I would think. Or at least a Big Show in boxing gear would be pretty cool. And now that they got the boxing gloves from the Piper Mr. T 2-pack, anything is possible. It's just finding that pen to the paper and making that contract happen. But I do enjoy this set. Like I said, I think it is a forgotten set. I think a lot of people missed this, slept on it, didn't know it existed. And this is another one that you could with Smoke and Mirrors. That's the great thing about the Big Show figures. You can put him in about any kind of setup you want. You can put him with Jack's, of course, but you can also put him with your Mattel figures if you so choose. So there it is, the Big Show limited edition Jack's Ruthless Aggression figure to represent his match with Floyd Money Mayweather. All right, we're down to the end. Have your list ready. We got to find out what my personal top #1 Big Show figure of all time is. Any guesses? It's coming up next. All right, here we are. We're at the #1 spot for Big Show figures of all time for me, of my top 5 list. We've counted them down from 5 to #1, and #1 might not shock a lot of people. I gotta think there's a lot of people that this is probably their #1 as well. I could be wrong, though. You guys tell me in the comments below. It's a very, very interesting figure. It's a cool figure. It's a really hard-to-find figure at this point, and we're talking about the Toys R Us exclusive, dying days of Toys R Us exclusive, Big Show Fan Central exclusive. Fan Central line had Mark Henry, Bobby Heenan, Triple H, and Big Show. It came out as a Toys R Us exclusive really at the dying days of Toys R Us. A lot of people missed out on this one. Later on, it did kind of come, I think Ringside Collectibles might have got a shipment. I know some like Big Lot type retailers ended up getting this set, but really a set that a lot of people missed, unfortunately. And it's, once again, my favorite Big Show figure. It represents Big Show during the time with his big, long beard. Love that beard. Has his tattoos. Has kind of his patriotic gear. Could have been on the patriotic top 5 list almost. I kind of forgot about this one, put my list together. I don't know if it would make my top 10, but it's another one you can throw in there. I mentioned it earlier. I love Big Show when he has the big fist hand, just a huge hand, and he's got that here. Does that knockout punch. That was his finisher for a while, if you guys remember. But then we got the choke slam hand, and that's important. These are the 2 most important figures to have in a Big Show, or most important hands to have in a Big Show figure. And this chokeslam hand is huge. It's a monster chokeslam hand. It just looks big. His hands look big. The figure is big. I love big figures. I love tattoos. Sign me up all day long. But I just love the difference here. I think it's because of the long beard and the patriotic singlet gear. He did come with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy. It's just different enough. As most Big Show figures, you're getting the strap, you're getting the bald head or maybe hair. There's not a lot of in-between back and forth. He does have some good figures through other lines out there. I know some people might even prefer that WCW OSFTM Giant figure. I know a lot of people like the NWO Giant figure that came in the Mattel Elite line. That one just a little hit and miss for me. I do think we'll see that one get updated, though, one of these days, probably via AEW. We'll just have to get a third-party shirt to put on that, but I think we'll get some throwback giant figures via Jazzwares. I just got to think there's going to be some kind of classic superstars line. You know, we're going to see it with the Sting coming up in that Unmatched series. I could see the Giant Big Show going to that. Just put it Paul White, but you can just put him however you want. That's my guess. But this Fan Central exclusive, one many have slept on. If you got a chance, get this one. This is a solid one. That's why it's number 1 on my list. So there you go. Fan Central exclusive, number 1, Toys R Us exclusive. But what does your list look like? Like I said earlier, make sure you put your top 5 in the list in the comments below. I'd love to see what your list is. It's harder than you think with some of these. Some of these you're saying, Big Show, you can't really do a top 5. But boy, there's so many Big Show figures, especially if you dive into the Jakks Ruthless Aggression era. I mean, there's probably 10, 12 right there that you could choose from alone. So there it is. You guys tell me your top 5. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. Follow me on Pro Wrestling Tees. And for the Big Show, top 5, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.